No, they don't.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. I'm Sharon Silva, President of the League of Women Voters. This is my first time being a moderator for this. I want to start out thanking Jean Seeland for all the years of putting these together. I made her sit up here next to me for moral support, but I won't need it because I know all of you are going to give me moral support. Okay, so introductions and thank yous. Thank yous. Thank you, all of you citizens, for participating in our democracy and making this worth doing by your presence here. I want to thank you for that. I want to thank the League of Women Voters and all of the individuals, both League members and perhaps some not, that are helping to put this on. We need that structure, otherwise it can't be done. And also, a special thank you to all of you sitting up here, that you're willing to go through this process on our behalf for the community. So thank you so much. Yes, applause for everyone who's running. Okay, I'm going to do the introductions here, starting with, we have four mayoral candidates, but one is not here tonight, right? So in the order that I have on my sheet here, we have Dave Boson. Thank you. We have Matthew Gardner. Thank you. And we have Quentin Hart. Thank you. Oh, they should stand? Oh, thank you. Let me do it again.
Oh, okay.
Do over. Okay, we have, for mayor candidates, Dave Boson. Thank you. Matthew Gardner. And Quentin Hart. For candidates for council member at large, we have Kelly Martin. And we have Mickey McCracken. For Ward 1, we have the candidates John Childs. We have Margaret Klein. And Steve Schmidt. For Ward 3, we have Deborah Berry. And also Daryl Hardema. And Ward 5, we have Hector Salamanca Arroyo. Okay, before we begin the questions, I want to, I should also let me introduce Jerry, our timer. Lord knows we might be here all night if it weren't for Jerry. Okay, so before I start questions or start with the opening statements, I want to assure the audience, no disrespect, I actually checked with all the candidates to see, should I go with last names or first names? And they were unanimous, which is probably the last time they will ever be unanimous, right? In saying, let's go with first names. So please know that was their choice, no disrespect on my part. Okay, then to help me keep track of who has spoken and who has not, I'd like to start at one end. Everybody will get the exact same questions, and what we will do here is each one will have an opening statement, and they get 2 minutes. Okay. Daryl, if you would begin.
I'm Daryl Hardema, running for Council Ward 3.
He can't get to the microphone.
No,
if he
no.
comes up.
Excuse me, just 1 moment.
I'm sorry.
Okay, apparently, it's most common not to stand, because that takes up a bunch of time and also kind of cuts into the hearing for some people. So thanks for the suggestion, but I think I'll go with what I'm reading the room. TVs, oh. Oh, yes, thank you. See, already I forgot that I was on camera. Okay, if we may begin again. Daryl.
I'm Daryl Hardema, running for Council Ward 3. I've was born in this city in 1962. I've lived at my current location for over 30 years. I'm a former employee of the city of Waterloo, retired a few years ago, Before that, I worked for the Waterloo school system. I've been on both ends of budgets, and I understand what's going on with city council and all of our departments and department heads. I think I can be a large contribution to helping us see our way through transparency and budget responsibility. And also, after being an employee, I'm also able to help with employee negotiations.
Okay, Deb.
First of all, thank you, League of Women Voters, for this opportunity to be part of this candidates forum tonight. And of course, I'm Deb Berry. I'm running for the 3rd Ward City Council. And there's really several reasons why I'm doing this, but I'm going to just touch on something that's very important to me. And all my life, I've been involved with community relations. I've been involved with out in the community in some capacity. And in my adult years, I was involved with public radio, and then later into I was a city council member, and then state representative many years ago. And since then, I have been focusing on just what can we do to engage our community, to empower our community, so that our community will feel part of the city and the functions of the city. There's a couple things that are important to me. As I mentioned, community empowerment, economic development is very important as well, and the push to bring to our city quality jobs, high-paying jobs that are quality jobs. Because when you have a workforce that is working, then I think that's going to solve a lot of the problems that we see in our community. So, thank you.
Thank you. Mickey.
All right. I'm Mickey McCracken, running for the at-large seat this year in the city council elections. First off, I'm a mother of 5 children. Thankfully, they are all grown now. So I decided I wanted to run for city council 4 years ago. I ran for the Ward 1 seat and lost to John Childs. And I decided to run because I had went to a council meeting in person about the budget. And my background is in business, budgeting. I have an MBA in organizational development and work in the for-profit sector, creating budgets and managing budgets effectively and cutting cost. That is what got me interested in wanting to run for city council, because I thought I could do a better job than what I saw at that meeting that day. So that being said, here I am again, putting my best foot forward, looking to represent Waterloo.
Thank you. Kelly.
Well, good evening, and thank you, League of Women Voters. I appreciate you guys having this forum. My name is Kelly Martin. As most of you know, the work has already been done about building a stronger Waterloo. As a work-based learning coordinator, my job isn't a theory. It's an extension. Every day I connect local students with local employers, creating a vital pipeline to the power of our economy. I manage rigorous plans strategically. I hold myself accountable for delivering results that matter to our business and our families. I'm running for city council at large because I believe we can bring the same hands-on, result-oriented discipline to city government. My passion is creating a new approach for a stronger Waterloo, built on 3 pillars: economic opportunity, accountable spending, and community connection. I spent my career bridging the gap between industry and education. Now I'm ready to bridge the gap between city government and the people. I look forward to your questions. Thank you.
Quentin.
Right. Thank you, League of Women Voters, and all the sponsors of this important forum, and all the candidates that are here this evening, and all of you as well. And a special shout out to my mom, who's in the audience, who's going to make sure that I am. But I'm Mayor Quentin Hart, proud to call Waterloo home, and grateful to have this opportunity to discuss what we are for versus what we are against. Since taking office, we've made historic infrastructure investments in our streets, roads, and bridges, built the largest municipal telecom in the state, Waterloo Fiber, and forged strong partnerships in housing, public safety, and recreation. We partner with businesses and philanthropic organizations to rebuild parts of our community, and these accomplishments have come even with the challenges across the nation, from COVID shutting things down to record flooding, civil and social unrest, national and state budget impacts, and tariffs. But while some communities chose to retreat, we chose to plan, to build, and reinvest millions of dollars into a crumbling infrastructure that needed modernizing. So real tested leadership with a track record of accomplishment versus negative platforms based on regression, anger, with the focus on the past and no plan. The choice is clear, and I look forward to this discussion this evening.
Thank you. Matthew.
I'm Matthew Gardner. I believe the last debate gave us a clear sign of the path of this election. Gary Hall has chosen to step out of the election and put his support behind my mayoral run. Thank you, Gary, for your support. We witnessed a councilman falling in lockstep with a mayor. That tells me this is a two-person race. If you want to continue to add to the $100+ million debt, your choice is clear. You should stay with Mr. Hart. If you want a budget that fits the city revenue and a man that knows how to conduct business, make this election a mandate. Let's get this done on November 4th. Vote Matt Gardner.
Thank you. Yes. Dave.
Thank you. First of all, I'd like to thank the Hawk-Bremer League of Women Voters for sponsoring this forum, everyone that came out here to witness this tonight, and all who view it online or delayed broadcast. I'm Dave Boson, and I'm running for the next mayor of Waterloo. I've been with the city of Waterloo for over 40 years, retiring after 28 years with Waterloo Fire Rescue, rising to the rank of battalion chief, managing one of the 3 shifts at the fire department. I then spent the next 6 years managing the property and evidence division at the Waterloo Police Department. I love both my careers in the city, and after my retirement from the police department, I decided to run for city council. I had 2 great careers in Waterloo, a city that I love, that has done so much for me and my family over 34 years. I actually felt I needed and I had the desire to give back to this community, and that was the reason for entering politics and putting myself out there and running. My first election, I ran for the at-large seat against a 12-year incumbent, and I was fortunate to win, and for 4 years, I represented the entire community. Fast forward 4 years, and the Ward 2 council person and I decided to run for each other's position, and I ran unopposed from Ward 2. I have proudly represented Ward 2 for the past 2 years. This council is made up of 5 wards, 2 at-large positions, and even though I'm currently representing the citizens of Ward 2, every vote we take on the council represents the entire city. I am well prepared to represent Waterloo as your mayor. If you've had the chance or the pleasure or an opportunity to watch and follow our council meetings, you will see that I'm well prepared for all agenda items and do the necessary work and research each week. I wish to thank everyone sitting up here tonight, I truly do, for their courage to put themselves out there and run for public office. It's no easy task, and no matter how the election goes, you're all winners. My 40 years with Waterloo and working with all city departments gives me the background and experience to hit the ground running January 2nd. As your mayor, thank you, Jerry, I will represent all of Waterloo and give 100% of my time and energy to every citizen of this great city. I strongly encourage you to vote Dave Boson for mayor November 4th. Thank you.
Thank you. John?
Well, hello, everyone. My name is John Childs, and I am the current Ward 1 City Council member. I'm a music professor at Hawkeye Community College, and I just want to give you a little background. I was a military child. I grew up living all around this country. I've lived in various places, and when it was time for my wife and I to settle down and pick a place to live, we chose Waterloo, Iowa as our home. And as I made that decision, I decided to immediately get invested in this community. I joined several city boards. I went ahead and volunteered in this community as much as possible. And then, about 4 years after that, I ended up on this dais. The past 4 years have been fruitful, and the investment that has been made in this community by myself and my family by being on this dais has been shown. Around me, millions of dollars of home value created just around my own property. That is strategy, making sure that we have demolish properties that have been present for decades, getting those things down, a new entertainment district in our own city, transforming our old dilapidated mall into a new area of economic opportunity, a fully staffed police force with fire department and equipment needed to protect our city, that's safety, and then making sure that we have fiber internet, something that makes a decision for a business to move to the city and invest and stay in Waterloo, Iowa. Infrastructure throughout our city connected through fiber, camera installation, smart sensors for our stoplights, receiving grants from multi-million-dollar companies in order to improve the smartness of our city. That's being smart. But to make this investment, I had to work hard. I've been extremely responsive to calls and emails regardless of who that person is. I've been and solved personal squabbles between neighbors in order to make sure that our community can continue to move forward in a positive manner. This has been a hard 4 years, but I'm asking for 4 more. Thank you so much. Please vote John Childs on November 4th.
Thank you. Steve?
Good evening, and again, I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for putting this event on, and also all the folks that took time out of their evening to come and join us for a live review. I'd also like to compliment all the candidates up here. As we've all found out, it takes a little time, takes a little effort, but I know that we're all up here for the same reason, that we want to do what's best for Waterloo, and that's why we're all here. I am blessed to be the father of 6 children, and I've spent the last 40 years in the telecommunications and technology industry. During that time, I had the opportunity to work with a couple of different very large companies at a director level position, and then I had the opportunity to start my own company. And over the last 15 years, I've started 3 different companies in Waterloo that were all very successful, had a number of local employees, and we also had offices in Cedar Rapids and Dubuque. During that time, I've also been involved in a number of different boards and commissions within the city, Boys and Girls Club, the Boy Scouts, a variety of different boards and commissions. And then I was also fortunate enough to be elected to Waterloo City Council for 12 years. During that time, I served on virtually every board and commission that is available to council members, so I have a well-rounded understanding of that. During those 12 years that I was on City Council, every year I voted for tax reductions. Every year I came up with proposals and plans for the current mayor at that time in the council to look at ways for Waterloo to do things more efficiently and at a lower cost to our citizens and taxpayers. One of those 12 years, I was able to get 3 other council members to come along with me, and we actually reduced the budget that year. The other 11 years, I came up a little bit short, but I believe that is what I would bring to the table, and I ask for your vote for Steve Schmidt on November 4th.
Thank you. Margaret?
Good evening. Thank you, League of Women Voters of Black Hawk and Bremer County, for having us. Thank you all for attending. I am Margaret Klein. I'm running for Waterloo City Council, Ward 1. I am a former city councilwoman for that ward, and I have stayed interested in city politics since that time. I have stayed informed. Some of the things I railed against while I was on the city council have since failed the test of time. And I want to get back on the city council to assist, hopefully, a new council in changing things. Everyone got their tax bill this year. Everyone knows what I'm talking about. We are such a high-taxed city. And when you look around the city and you compare it to the communities around us, you wonder about the value. And that is why we have people voting with their feet to leave Waterloo. And I don't want that. I grew up in Waterloo. My family, I am married to my husband 56 years. We have 7 children, 25 grandchildren, and 4 great-grandchildren. As of yesterday, we have our 4th great-grandchild. Most of them live here. Only 1 son and 3 of the grandchildren live in Denver, Colorado. So my interest will remain here for generations. I want jobs for the kids. I want good housing. I want safe neighborhoods. I want what you want, what every homeowner wants. And I don't want to fall into a state of shock when I see the tax bill, because that hits the retired people the hardest, the fixed income people the very hardest. I actually knocked on doors of people who said they were frightened that they were going to have to give up their homes because of those big tax bills. So we've got to do something, and working collegially as a council person is vital, and I think I'm capable of doing that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hector?
right. Thank you to the Black Hawk-Bremer League of Women Voters for hosting this debate. My name is Hector Salamanca Arroyo, and I'm running to represent Ward 5. I've called Waterloo home for the past 3 years, moving here in 2022 after an overseas deployment with the Army Colorado National Guard to pursue my master's degree at the University of Northern Iowa. I now hold that master's from UNI, and I also hold a bachelor's from Drake University. And I've spent most of my career in public service and in the nonprofit sector, whether serving in the military, working as a deputy sheriff in Denver, Colorado, or working with youth at the Boys and Girls Club. I'm running for city council to bring a fresh voice to an increasingly diverse ward and to serve as a fiscally responsible, community-focused representative of Ward 5.
Thank you very much, all of you. Well, that may make time for another question. Should we invite people to still submit, or do we think? No. Okay, in that case, so I have a few questions here from the audience. Please feel free to give us, we can't promise because we are committed at 8:10, we will stop so that our candidates can make their closing remarks, but we'll do our very best. Okay, so instead of starting with you, again, Daryl, I'll start with Deb, and the next time, Mickey, I'll start with you on the next round. Okay, so here's the first question. What specific actions will you take to promote the perception of the east side of Waterloo?
Good question. Since I live on the east side of Waterloo, and I've lived on the east side of Waterloo all my life, I would probably just do what I've always done. When I was in office before, I was talking to everyone. I was reaching out to other businesses and different municipalities, for that matter, to just talk about the good things in Waterloo. And that's not what we're hearing people talk about lately. When you talk to certain individuals, it's like doom or gloom. And to me, we've got great things happening here. I would talk about economic development, as I mentioned earlier, and how we can partner with, continue to partner with, because I can say that I've been seeing, and we've all been aware of some of the good things that have been happening here in terms of partnerships. And in fact, Grow Cedar Valley, kind of the work that they've been doing, and others. But I would definitely encourage people to come to a community where you feel a family environment. I lived in Chicago. I lived there for many years, and I couldn't wait to get back home because I needed that closeness to what Waterloo brought. Now, it hasn't always been a great place, and if you go back to the 80s and the farm crisis, I think we suffered when we saw a lot of we saw Rath and John Deere, some of those businesses have issues, and Rath closing. But I can tell you that was a time that I remember when our family and our neighbors and others in this community, we came together and we stuck together and we helped each other. And I would just sell that. I think that's one of the most important things to me, is to talk about the friendliness and the fact that we've got good schools and it's just a good place to live.
Thank you. So, Mickey, what specific actions will you take to promote the perception of the east side of Waterloo?
Sure, that's a great question. I think first and foremost, talking to the citizens on the east side of Waterloo and what their needs and wants are the most vital thing. I know what I see on the east side is buildings that are closed. We've got the EMA building, we've got the grocery store, we've got Hy-Vee that recently closed, Burger King, and we have some buildings that have recently opened as well. But there is room for improvement, in my opinion. I don't know what the citizens on the east side of Waterloo are saying, other than the few that I've talked to in this campaign. So if elected to this seat, being boots on the ground, open door policy where individuals can call me and talk to me about their concerns, and working with the community in the council collaboratively for improvements where citizens see fit as a collaboration with the council. Council tends to sometimes appear, I'm not on the council, so that's just my presumption, that they're not working with the citizens, but just working with one another. So really, really connecting with the citizens of Waterloo, and also partnering more with entities like We Build Waterloo, One City, a lot of nonprofits. I've talked to some of the nonprofits in town, they feel a little left behind. And so more partnerships with those nonprofits that are serving individuals that are at lower incomes, have mental health barriers, addiction barriers. We really need to partner with the nonprofits and help our citizens. We need to fix the roof before we do anything else. And we're not doing that right now, in my opinion.
Okay, thank you, Mickey. Kelly, what specific actions will you take to promote the perception of the east side of Waterloo?
First of all, being a product of the east side of Waterloo, I'm proud to say that I'm proud of Waterloo on that east side. First thing would be collaborating with the Ward 3, Ward 4 candidates to actually work and see what we can do as far as creating a culture that is an improvement, benefiting, looking at what I do currently as a work-based learning coordinator. Basically, that takes our students, giving them job opportunities to create a business, to create sustainability, to create a future. If we don't take that into account, we're not going to do anything. We talk about all the high taxes and things in Waterloo. Basically, bringing a structure of employment here to Waterloo will delete that tax burden. So collaborating is the biggest key to it, building a future with the students that we have in this community to keep them here, to build homes and sustainability.
Thank you, Kelly. Quentin, what specific actions will you take to promote the perception of the east side of Waterloo?
Well, the first thing that I would do, I would not use the northeast side of our city as a political pawn, going in front of businesses that may not have been successful to get people to vote for me or not vote for another person. When a business is not open and people need fresh food and groceries, it's not funny to use that during political time. Secondly, we need to continue to focus on reinvestment of the area. If you take a look over the last 8 to 10 years, we had Logan Plaza that was a shell of a building. We work with a developer to change that into a daycare center, to change it into a skilled care center, to change it into more shovel-ready lots where Veridian is going, to have the overpass so that can fix some of the structural water problems, to move over to Chamberlain's to try to fix that ground, to go back and take a look at the Quick Start that is located there. But when we're talking about the east side or any part of this city, we need to start talking about the strengths that exist within that part of the community. You cannot guilt investors to build in a certain areas. But when you start talking about the positive things that happen, not avoiding some of the challenges, but talk about the positive things that are happening, it gives you the opportunity to negotiate and talk to people from a position of strength. We need to continue with the investments that we have made through housing and partnerships like we have in the Walnut area corridor, like we work with Hawkeye Community College, and continue to try to attract and find investment in that area. Gates Park, the largest recreational reinvestment in the history of that city, has taken place right there. So we need to look at it from a source of strength and opportunity versus using it every election time to get people to not vote or vote for someone.
Thank you, Quentin. Matthew.
What will I do to help promote the east side of Waterloo? We're going to focus on the northeast site for business growth. We're going to promote and work with existing businesses to find what they need for support in the downtown area, specifically the downtown stretch of East 4th Business District that has a lot of is a vibrant part of the city and needs to continue to be nurtured and grown to make sure it continues to spread to nearby streets and continue to grow the East 4th Business District. Help find safe places for the mentally ill that they can be taken care of, help them get off the streets. I'd like to get our Highway 63 bypass around the east side to the northeast site, which would create a natural economic development because of the new road structures. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
Excuse me, I need to remind everyone to speak up a little more, speak toward the microphone better. Okay? And I'm sorry, please.
That's fine. Thank
Go
you.
ahead.
Specific actions to promote the east side and changing the image of the east side. I think if anybody had the opportunity to watch the rollout of our new high school, where we were divided by our river, and we are Waterloo united. That's exciting. It truly is, because we don't have an east side and a west side anymore, especially when our new high school is built. We have one Waterloo, and I think that'll help partially change the image. We are investing millions of dollars into this side of town, but our work's not done. We need to build up our neighborhoods from within. We need people that feel safe in their homes and safe in their neighborhoods. We need to work with our police department to get officers out of their vehicles and meet the people in those neighborhoods so they do feel safe. And so if there's a problem in their neighborhoods, they're willing to come forward because they trust our police department and are willing to work with them to help solve the problems of their neighborhoods. As I said, we need to build up and work to create more neighborhood associations, because neighborhood associations are extremely important for building up neighborhoods and building and creating a better image of those neighborhoods. And as said before, we need to work closely with Hawkeye Community College, Habitat for Humanity, building up neighborhoods from within. If you have not been through the Walnut neighborhood area, you need to take some time and drive through there and see the most beautiful homes that are being built there, building up those neighborhoods, and they were done by Habitat. Hawkeye has some down there by Newell. We have a lot of positive things that we're moving towards on the east side, and I think our image is just on the verge of really changing and making Waterloo a better place, all inclusive, both sides of town.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
John?
Thank you. The first thing I'd like to say is the north side of town, or northeast side of town, is not a monolith. The entire north side does not need one thing. There are several things that are needed in various areas, just like there are on the south side of town. Right now, the biggest need in that area is we need a grocery store. We need to resolve the food desert issue. So something that we are currently working on is getting those businesses to come here. As stated previously, we cannot force or guilt a business to come to Waterloo. So we have to show the positives in what's happening. The new Logan Plaza site has significant amount of homes that are going over there into that location that will attract people that want to sell products to those people. Other things that we can do is work with students. I know that we are not the school board, and it is not our job to work with the students directly. However, students are citizens, and those students need to know what's happening in Waterloo. And I think the one way to connect to them, because they don't use Facebook, they don't look at our Instagrams, we're old. They don't look at the things that we look at. So what they will look at is something that has everything they need on it, like an app. So we've already started this process for us adults. We have the app that tells us when our trash can goes out, when our recycling goes out. We have the Waterloo Fiber. But if we had an app that told citizens what's going on in the city, a singular place that they could connect to, then that would deeply help the north side and the south side understand what's happening in the city, the positive things that are happening, and what they can go to, where they can go to eat, where they can go to get things. And that also shows outside towns and outside businesses, oh, this is an easy marketing material for us, so we can go there and be successful.
Thank you, John. Steve?
Well, as a couple of council candidates have mentioned, the neighborhood associations, I think, would be a great place to start. During my 12 years on the council, I attended a lot of neighborhood associations, and that's where you can get a good understanding of what those particular areas of the community are looking for. I also think that Northeast Waterloo is a really good example of a private-public compromise there with a local developer that we had in conjunction with Unity Point and in conjunction with the city. And it's been, I think, by all appearances, very successful, with the exception of the grocery store, which I'm not in the grocery business, so I'm not quite sure what happened there. But I do think that the public sector, the city, government in general, cannot be the answer to all of our problems. Sometimes I think government can be a little bit of the problem. And I think we need to work with local developers, as we did there. Councilmember Childs mentioned housing growth in the south side of Waterloo. I actually am the person that put that together when I was on city council previously, that we had no new housing developments going on anywhere in Waterloo 12 or 15 years ago. And some realtors and I got together and discussed the issue and put together a group of developers, realtors, people that are in that business that know what it takes to get things done, came up with what's called the CLURA, which was a tax abatement program that the city has continued ever since. And now we've got 7 different housing developments going on throughout the city. And I think that is, again, one of those examples of a public entity working with private industry to be able to be successful.
Okay, thank you, Steve. Margaret?
Okay, I grew up and pounded the dirt roads on Phillip Street. If anyone knows where Phillip Street, it is right next to a switchyard. And there were no paved streets in my neighborhood, and we had a blast. We used those dirt streets as artists' easels. Every summer, we would draw in them and play on them and have a great time. And when we did move out of Phillip Street neighborhood, we moved over to Independence Avenue. I grew up my teenage years at 1136 Independence Avenue. So I know the East Side very well. My first job was at Dunn's SureSave. I'm an East Side girl and proud of it. I have people in my family who live on the East Side now, and they're proud of it. My first home as an adult married lady was on the East Side. And I'm absolutely one of the biggest defenders of the East Side. When I went door knocking during the last campaign I had, I hit every single voter's house in Waterloo. I made it a point, Democrat, Republican, Independent. If you voted, I knocked on your door. I became so familiar with the neighborhoods, the varied neighborhoods of the East Side. It's a rich side of the river. It's got traditions, it's got fun, it's got everything. What the city has to do is make it easy for developers to develop over there. We're already starting that process. It doesn't mean every developer who comes before you should be given a green light, because you've got to do your due diligence. And I think that's what happened with the grocery store. We just didn't follow through with our due diligence, and we lost in that effort. So you can't want something so badly that you're willing to throw everything away to get it. It's got to make sense. And the person developing it and bringing it to you has to have skin in the game all the way along. So I'm absolutely an East Side person, and everyone will tell you, wherever I go, I'm proud of where I came from.
Thank you. Hector?
So, not representing that specific area of the city and not living in that area of the city, I think it would be ill-advised of me to really harp or point out my vision or what my thoughts are on the north side, east side of Waterloo. What I can tell you is that having worked at the Boys and Girls Club, having worked at East High School, I have had conversations with students as to why does this part of the city not have the same level of investment. Not being from Waterloo, I can tell you that there's history involved in that, there's a legacy that's involved, but as a city council person representing Ward 5, it wouldn't necessarily be my place to spearhead any initiatives within that ward. It wouldn't really be my place to spearhead any council discussions regarding that part of the city. What I can do is work collaboratively with my peers on city council to ensure that if there are residents in that area who feel they're not being heard, that I work with them to ensure they have the proper channels to speak to the individuals they need to get a hold of. In addition, I'm a big proponent of supporting our neighborhood associations, as well as ensuring constant dialogue and constant communication. But as a Ward 5 City Council member within this sphere, I would feel my role would be quite limited and wouldn't be the right place to step in and really put my voice to it. But rather, I would rather prefer to empower the residents of that part of town and empower and work collaboratively with the other city council members and that specific ward member to ensure that they feel supported.
Thank you. And for our last response, Daryl?
Well, should I be elected to this office, I represent a ward that is on both sides of Waterloo. I take offense when people say north side, east side, west side, south side. This is one city. I represent a ward, but when I come up here and make a vote, I'm affecting every person in this city with my vote, not just Ward 3. I represent the people in Ward 3 if I have that opportunity. I will be there for them. And we talk about a food desert that occurred here, just a few blocks. But in my ward, we've had over 6 grocery stores close. My now nearest grocery store is Cedar Falls. So it's not just one side of a river or one point on a compass that Waterloo needs to concentrate on. It is the whole city. It is one city.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Okay, so our next question from the audience, and we'll start with you, Mickey. How will you balance the budget when most of the money goes to public safety to ensure our community is safe?
So I've looked at the budget and printed it off and highlighted it and done tons of spreadsheets with the budget to try and figure out what I'd do. But we do have a lot of departments. Of course, public safety is not a profitable department, and I would never expect it to be. So I wouldn't make any changes there. That's something that we just are not negotiable on, in my opinion. But there are other departments that are costing us, and we're not getting any revenue. And then we have several departments that are making revenue. I would like to look at departments that are making revenue, like the engineering department and the clerk's department, and try and model other departments after that and see how we can make money to reduce taxes. That's pretty simple to me.
Thank you. Kelly, how will you balance the budget when most of the money goes to public safety to ensure our community is safe?
Well, I've done a little research. 80% of the taxes go to public safety. So when you talk about public safety, if you are in need of a police assistant, fire department, and you start cutting budget, that means cutting jobs. So when you start cutting those jobs, that means you got to wait extra 45 minutes for a police officer to respond, or extra 45 minutes for the fire department to get there. Let's talk about wintertime coming around. You cut public safety, you cut public works, your snow's not gonna get plowed till 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning. So you start talking about cutting budget for public safety and public works, that doesn't work for me.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Our actual budget is between 75 and about 80% of our general fund budget or taxes that are collected go to public safety and building inspections. The thing that we need to continue to do, one, is taking a look at when some of our particular areas mature with regards to some of our TIF areas. We've done incredible work in many of those areas, but once those numbers start to come back online, we need to take a look at what we release. We release probably over 1 million or so per year as it is. Number two, we need to think of other revenue sources. That's been a challenge. Over the past 4 years, we probably lost about $3.5 million just by state cuts. And so we have to balance our budget with smart growth, inclusive growth, at the same time making sure we have a fully funded staff. And public safety, of course, is number one on our radar. But we also have to make sure that we have other functioning departments. Legally, we have to have certain departments. We have to have a finance department. We have to have a clerk's department. We have to have people within our planning department to make sure that we utilize all the sections of the city in the way that we need to. But it's going to take smart growth. It's going to take making sure that we hold the line on spending in individual departments. We've cut about every paperclip that you can possibly think of. But the fact of the matter is, by 2028, we need to cut $1.81 million from our budget. We've also moved in some of our local option sales tax that helps us collect another $2.4 million that the taxpayers help us to vote for as well. We need to get Waterloo Fiber online and paying back into our coffers as well. So smart growth, intentional growth, and take a look at releasing some of that debt at some point.
Thank you. Matthew.
Okay. We're simply going to use general accounting principles. We're going to work to solve the budget. With a business background, I believe this is right in my wheelhouse, and this is something that one of the main reasons I'm running for mayor of Waterloo. I'll be focusing on the administrative side of the city. We'll get to work on the budget day one. We'll be working with departments to submit budgets to the mayor's office to be able to start to reconcile those budgets to make sure we've got things in line and we're finding all the streamlining we can find to make sure we're solvent. We're going to work on revenue streams for the city as well and to see what we can find to maximize what the city can do for its growth going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Matthew. Dave?
Well, thank you. And having worked in public safety for 34 years and dealt with both police and fire department, we have excellent police and fire departments, and they do a tremendous job, and they have a huge workload. Just today, they had 2 house fires in the morning, and one person was critically injured. But we do have to balance our overall budget. We have to look at every TIF district where we can start releasing money into the general fund. We were releasing money out of the general fund, out of the northeast side, until we created a problem with wetlands now that we're trying to restore our wetlands. We're not releasing money out of the Northeast Industrial TIF. We did release some money out of the downtown TIF last year. Will we be able to do that this year? I don't know. The reason I say that is because we're incurring more and more debt in the downtown TIF. So we have a lot to do. We have 7 different TIF districts, large TIF districts. We have TIF districts that are blighted urban renewal TIF districts, and that would be like the East Side Unified, it'd be the airport and all the areas out by Allen Hospital. University Avenue is a urban renewal TIF. Downtown is an urban renewal TIF. The Rath area is an urban renewal TIF, and they never expire. When we start talking about releasing money out of TIF districts, it's because if you're in an economic development TIF district, once a property's been in there 20 years, we have the opportunity to release those taxes. In 2027, the area around VGMs comes out of that TIF, and that's $2 million that TIF area is going to be short for their debt service levy. So there are ways to do this. There are ways to balance the budget. We're going to start the budget $1 million in the hole because we took $1 million of cash reserves last year to lower our tax rate. So we do have a huge issue. Thank you.
Thank you. And now we all have to talk real loud, right? Or is the train passed? Yeah. It's passed, sorry. Part of my inexperience here.
Oh, we're used to it.
Yes.
Okay. So, John, how will you balance the budget when most of the money goes to public safety to ensure our community is safe?
Well, first of all, I'd like to say I've been an ardent supporter of public safety over these past 4 years. It's extremely imperative that we maintain a strong fire and police department. That I think a lot of us forget that our fire department also includes our ambulance services in the city of Waterloo. The main way that I've determined that I've been working on this council is we have to take strategic plans in order to increase values of properties in areas that have lower valued properties. So increasing home values on the north side, increasing business value across the city. And the problem that we currently have is a lot of that growth occurs through a TIF district. Now, the great thing about that is we are getting this property, we are getting these buildings, we are getting these jobs in these areas that we need them. But until those dollars are released from the TIF district, we don't see a benefit from them from the general fund. So we need to have more strategic planning and specific plans on where we're planning to attract businesses, the incentives we're giving those businesses, and then making sure that we follow up and they reach their assessed value, and then we can release that value, thus increasing money coming into the general fund. The other thing is, as the CLRA home rebates expire, like mine did this year, there will be a lot of money coming into the general fund through taxes from citizens. My taxes this year were about $10,000. So I gave a nice gift to the city of Waterloo this past month of a check for $10,000. And there are a lot of other citizens that are willing to do that as they buy these new homes, they in their tax abatement, and they start to pay those taxes toward the city of Waterloo. So we need to have strategic growth in specific areas that we can increase assessed values and get those dollars into the general fund.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Steve.
Okay. Well, one of the things I think should be pointed out, as the mayor mentioned, I think 75 to 80% of our current budget goes to public safety. We all would agree public safety is critical. We've got to have it. But I think if you look around at some of the surrounding communities that we typically compete with for other things, like getting businesses to come to Waterloo, I believe in Cedar Falls. Their public sector part of the budget is 35%. Now, why is theirs 35 and ours is 75? Cedar Rapids and Dubuque is decidedly less than Waterloo's. And I think we have a tendency to not look and see what other people are doing and learn from their best practices. When I was on the council, I talked to, and it was a couple of police chiefs ago, we're always talking about community policing, but we never quite get it done. And a landlord in one of the more challenged areas of Waterloo offered to allow an office to be set up in the lower level of his apartment building where we could have a police sub-agency, which to me made great sense. And I think that's what they're doing in some of the more challenged communities and some of the areas of the country. And for whatever reason, I just basically was told, well, we just do what we do because that's what we've always done. And if you look at how many millions of dollars have been spent in Waterloo on technology over the last 20 years, in the private sector, the money you invest in technology typically has a return on it, and it normally has a return and a positive effect on the budget and cost savings, but that doesn't seem to happen at the city level in Waterloo. That as we spend money on these new technologies, there should be some savings, there should be some efficiency. People should be able to be more efficient in their daily lives, but that hasn't seemed to happen.
Thank you. Margaret?
I believe TIFs, to the way Waterloo practices the TIF program, are strangling Waterloo. I just do. We block off large swaths of the city. We take all the taxes that are accrued in that area, and we lock them away from the general fund, which creates stress on the rest of the people paying taxes to elevate their taxes to pay the bills. I mean, somebody's fundamentally got to pay the bills. And if half of the family, when we're all considered one, if half of the family has their bill-paying money, their taxes, taken out and put in a separate locked box only for a small area, then that leaves the regular bills for the rest of us to pay. Fewer people paying more money. It's just not right. And I think we've got to get that TIF program under control. Public safety is absolutely critical for Waterloo. We have a youth violence problem, and we need to get on top of it. We need a good force, an educated force, and a force that is known to their community. It does no good if people drive in, make you obey the law, and drive out. I want them to be there. I want them to, like someone said here, I want everyone in the community to know their police officers by name. I want them to be so happy to see them. And the only way to change that is to bring them back into the communities that they serve.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Hector?
I don't think making cuts to our public services is a prudent thought or an action that is going to lead to benefits to the city. It's not hard to look at the data and see that our city is shrinking, population is aging, and doing my ride along with both the Waterloo Police Department and fire, I can tell you that the folks that are serving our city are strapped. It's a challenging profession. Having been a deputy sheriff, I can tell you law enforcement is difficult. My father was a firefighter, and I can tell you it took a toll on him as well. At the end of the day, I think the city has to be able to balance its responsibilities to its citizens with the budget. Working with our city council members, as representative of Ward 5, what I'd be looking to do is sit down with the departments, try to get an understanding as how did the budget get to the point it is, and see what we can do to address it. I don't want to make any promises. I don't want to be up here and say that as a Ward 5 city council member, I'm going to make these cuts, etc. But the reality is that one person can't make that difference. One person can't make that change to the budget. You have to be able to work together collaboratively to address this issue.
Thank you. Thank you. Daryl?
Well, sadly, the shape of our current budget is so bad that nobody is going to see instant relief. John said he's willing to write the check to the city for $10,000 a year. I'm not. I'm not ready to write that check for $10,000. And most of the members in my family couldn't write a check for half that amount to the city to keep covering a budget that's out of control. The people that sit in the chairs behind the council are just as responsible for that budget as the council is. We have to have department heads that are held accountable. We have to have people that are letting contracts, let proper contracts. When we're buying equipment, we need to spec that equipment so it fits our needs, not somebody else's. And we wind up with the longest service possible out of that equipment. A lot of the problems that are here are because of TIF districts. I agree with everybody. They have a terrible effect on our county. They have a terrible effect on our citizens. The county doesn't receive any money. Now, every one of us in here use county services at some point, whether it's the treasurer's office, whether it's the recorder's office, the auditor's office, whatever. That TIF district is robbing money from those funds as well as the citizens. The first thing we have to do is get a hold of the TIF districts. There are some real estate deals that we have entered into that we will not see a dime from that agreement for 50 years. That can't happen. That can't happen. I don't care who we're bringing into town or who we're making special buildings for. That can't happen. We can't have things that are way out more than 5 to 10 years at the very most. It's got to be a big development to be 10 years.
Thank you, Daryl. Deb, our last answer to this question.
Okay, I think you look at the entire budget, and as it's been said, there's some issues with TIF, probably so. But I also believe that when we are having financial problems, we need to draw more businesses, more people into our community. We need to look at, well, I was gonna say, we also need to look at just how we can create, again, those jobs that can, take care of people. And again, work with, and I personally think the current council has been doing a fairly well job in managing it the best they can, with the fact that 80% of the budget is, fire, police, fire, and safety, public safety. But to me, it's important that, and we've all pretty much agreed that it's important to maintain that. We know that, but I think we just have to look outside of our city. Let's draw more in, and let's just build our budgets up and build our, more home ownership to increase our tax base. And I believe that we can see some significant changes there. But you can't mess with the police and fire, because the next thing that I'm hearing is that we need to provide better services, counseling services for police, because we never think about, after they witness some horrific, traumatic incident, what happens to them. I mean, what are they going through? So that may be another expense that we'll have to deal with, but I think it's important.
Okay, thank you. Well, we have a bit of a dilemma here. There's so many
I
good
have a rebuttal,
questions.
ma'am.
I do too.
I'll let the mayor go first.
Well, yeah, is everyone done? No, not everyone's done.
Oh,
We're allowed,
okay,
right?
okay, I'm sorry. Yes, who wants to do a rebuttal?
He asked first.
Okay, I'll start then. Thank you very much. And I get,
Okay, wait.
Oh,
Only
go ahead.
one person.
Do we let people finish then rebuttal?
I thought we were finished.
Oh, did everybody go?
first.
Mr. Pope?
Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. First of all, I want to thank Mr. Childs for writing a $10,000 check to Black Hawk County.
You're welcome.
Black Hawk County, not the city of Waterloo, because only $4,700 of that money is going to the city of Waterloo, because 47% of your tax dollars go to Waterloo, number one. Mr. Schmitz talked about how Cedar Falls' budget for police and fire is 35% of their budget. Cedar Falls also gets their budget supplemented from the state because UNI is in their community. They operate a PSO program. We looked at that years and years ago, and it will not work. It will not function within the city of Waterloo based on our call volume of our police department, based on the call volume of our fire department. Our ambulance calls, our fire calls, our police calls are going up 5 to 10% a year, and we're doing more with less. We are creating more revenue on our fire department, on our ambulance service through our GEMT funding from the state with Medicare and Medicaid reimbursement. And finally, our ambulance service is actually making a profit, which is really important because our ambulance service pays for a number of paramedics that operate 5 ambulances 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. All those people on the ambulance are trained firefighters. So that just added to the amount of firefighters that we have at a fire scene with all of those paramedics. And we always send an ambulance to a fire scene, and if they're not needed and they stay there for the protection of the firefighters, if we have the ability to use them at a fire scene, we do. When we talked about TIFs, and we talked about $304 million of new growth that we had last year, which is incredible that we had $304 million in new growth, but about 85% of that new growth is in a TIF, or they don't pay taxes at all. $106 million for the school system, they don't pay taxes. $22.5 million for Hawkeye Community College, no taxes. $10.7 million for the food bank, no taxes. And then the majority of those other properties in that $304 million are in a TIF district. That money does not go to the general fund. Thank you.
Thank you. And I would like to mention, although I acted like I was totally surprised, I had been told that, so Dave had asked in advance, could he request a rebuttal during this? Oh, okay, so now we're going to have other rebuttals? Is
Yes,
that how we do it?
I would like to.
Okay, and everybody gets just 2 minutes, and I
Well,
think
you know
Quentin
what?
was first.
If we're not doing rebuttals, I can see my comments and we can move on to get towards the questions
do a
of the
rebuttal.
people, if we're not doing rebuttals.
We are doing rebuttals. He just did that.
Then, I know,
Since he just did one, I would like to do one. Very short, very short.
Mayor Hart had asked first.
so the conversation, yeah, right on point. But the conversation, first of all, the $304 million in Waterloo Community Schools, that project alone creates 1,500 jobs for labor within our community. That is reinvestment back into the community, people spending money and dollars here. That's over 2,000 or so construction jobs. Without TIF, we would not have, we wouldn't see International Paper right now. We wouldn't see TVS. We wouldn't see CPM with jobs. We wouldn't see Image Point with jobs. We wouldn't see maybe VGM. We wouldn't see Control. We wouldn't see Warren Transport. We wouldn't see the redevelopment of Crossroads, Gates Parks, ConAgra. That's 200 jobs. Crystal Cold Storage, North Crossing, New Roads, Viridian, and water infrastructure. TIF is not only used for development deals. There are hundreds of millions of dollars that goes back to put in infrastructure. Once we put in the infrastructure in those TIF areas, because you have the TIF areas because you can't put an industrial building right next to a neighborhood. We've gone in, we put in infrastructure, we put in roads, and that's why we're able to see 300 million happen now, and next year it's going to be more than that. But you have to put the infrastructure into your areas so that you can start to build and create job creation. So it's more than just a development deal for someone. Everybody praised North Crossing, that happened through a TIF. Everybody praised Gates. That happened with TIF dollars. So you have to be careful how you quantify this and have a real understanding before you tell every developer out there that we are not willing to structure deals to bring jobs to this community. The moment you stop that, business stops here.
Thank you. Yes, and
Just 2 points, just to answer what the mayor just said. I think TIF can be beneficial, but it has to be very carefully calibrated. And Waterloo has gone way overboard, way too often, and for far too long. Now, my other comment was that Mr. John Childs said he gave a gift. Who in the world thinks paying your taxes is giving a gift? If you didn't pay it, they'd come and take your house. A gift indicates you think you have a choice in the matter. There is no choice for us. We pay our taxes.
You can't say that we're doing something wrong. That's a
oh,
legal
okay, I'm sorry.
implication.
Okay. I think by the rules, do we have someone else who wants?
Yeah, I'd like to make a statement.
Okay.
You know, when we-
Can we say that We won't have time for any other questions. That's okay. I have a couple things to say. I guess we'll try for anybody who wants to do a rebuttal to allow them to, only one. Nobody gets to do more than one rebuttal, and it cannot be more than 2 minutes. Okay, so the next person.
Why
okay.
don't you just go ahead?
What's that?
Why don't you just go ahead? Let's just keep moving.
Okay, let's keep moving. Okay, all right. So that, in that case, what I wanted to say was the questions that have been written that we will not be able to ask you, okay? I was going to use the royal we, but actually Jean has told me she will have these collected and emailed to all of the candidates, so you will know what's on the minds of your constituents that were willing to take their time to be here tonight. Okay. Wanted to be able to be sure and say that. So what we will do, since it's so close, we will let everyone do their closing remarks, okay, following the same pattern that we have been using. So in that case, then, it would be Kelly who would be up next to do his closing remarks. And again, 2 minutes.
I won't need all of 2 minutes. Thank you again, League of Women Voters, and everyone that's here tonight. You've heard a lot of ideas, you've heard a lot of questions being answered, but I want to remind you what makes my vision unique. I don't need to learn how to connect with City Hall to our economy. That's what I do every single day. I'm a proven connector, a strategic planner, and accountable leader. On November 4th, when you step into the voting booth, you need to ask yourself, do you want somebody who is talking about all our problems, or a practical coordinator who's ready to deliver solutions? My platform is clear. We build a city by building workforce we need. We stop managing the status quo and start aggressively investing in the talent, our infrastructure, our future. The new approach will make a stronger Waterloo. I'm asking for your vote because I don't want to be on the city council. I want to bring a focused, result-driven, work-based learning coordinator to the entire city of Waterloo. The time for direction is now. The time for a new approach is now. The time for Martin is now. Thank you.
As we conclude, I want to thank everyone here. Look, I know times are hard in this country. People are feeling it all around our communities. And as a nation, the cost of bread, the cost of milk, basic necessities are all at a higher rate. And I understand that, and I'm always thinking of you when we make decisions. But at the same time, we have to ensure that we are building a city of tomorrow by building an infrastructure necessary today. I have worked alongside many of you to continue to set a vision for Waterloo that is future forward and realistic. You have elected me to get things done instead of complaining. The people wanted road investment. 15 years prior, it was $11 million per year. Now it's $19 million per year. Low-cost fiber options, Waterloo Fiber, bridging the digital divide, housing reinvestment in blighted areas like Walnut and Church Row, the mall renovation, it's happening. You wanted sanitary overflows in your neighborhoods to stop. The consent decree, it's over. There is no time for experiments. You need experience with a track record of getting things done, proven results. No one rises to low expectations, but every community has challenges, but we don't lead with our challenges. We lead from the best of who we are. I have been successful in building, but it takes vision, it takes tested leadership, and it takes a mayor that is for the whole community, not just when it is time for an election, but has been there as one of the most accessible mayors in the state. I ask for your continued support. Thank you. Vote Mayor Hart.
Okay. First, I want to wish Steve a happy birthday, since this will be my last opportunity to do that. The two highest priorities for me in Waterloo is get the budget in line with revenue, that we stop selling our future to the lowest bidder. I'd like to implement a city manager immediately, as soon as possible. The mayor, if I become mayor, I'll forfeit my pay to cover the position. We need a manager that is sole focus is the business of the city. I built a thriving business that never saw a down year even through the Great Recession. I built from 1 to 46 employees, transferred the company to employee-owned so they can control their own destiny. I've run a campaign with 98% of my own money. A plan was developed and followed to run a responsible campaign to prove you can get your message out without going into uncontrollable debt. I believe you need some skin in the game. I'm pro-business, I'm pro-small government, I'm pro-smaller administration, I'm pro-police, I'm pro-fire, I'm pro-city employees, I'm pro-mental health, I'm pro-lower taxes, I'm pro-Waterloo pride, I'm pro-Waterloo power, I'm pro-Waterloo city plan that we develop, I'm pro-comeback. Waterloo has to rise up and become the rock that all cities are measured against. Thank you for your time. Please vote November 4th for Matt Gardner.
Thank you. As I said in my opening statement, I wish to thank the Black Hawk-Bremer League of Women Voters for sponsoring the forum, and everyone in the audience, online or delayed broadcast, for watching. I've dedicated 40 years of my life to public service in Waterloo, and I will continue to dedicate myself as your new mayor. I have never entered into any endeavor that I haven't given 100% of my time and energy. When I was hired by Waterloo Fire Rescue, I was told firefighters must hold themselves to a higher moral standard, both on and off the job, as you're always representing the department. The mayor's on the clock 24 hours a day, and I pledge I will represent this city in a positive light with a higher moral code than we've had in the past. Waterloo is a great city, and we have a lot to offer, but we must get taxes and debt under control. We must attract new businesses that bring good jobs to the community and stop the declining population. We can't have increasing taxes coupled with declining population because the burden falls on you and me. As I said, I have the experience to hit the ground running on day one, and we will have a higher level of accountability from the city to our citizens, and I will pledge to work for all of Waterloo. As I knock on doors and talk to people, I haven't found one person that hasn't said it's time for a change. People I've never met come up to me in public and thank me for running and say the same thing. I want to thank everyone who has supported my campaign, either through donations, allowing me to put a sign in their yard, people that I've had great conversations with on their porch, and those who have expressed kind words to me for running whenever I'm out and about in Waterloo, and I am truly humbled and grateful. Again, thank you. I ask for your continued support and your vote November 4th, and let's restore Waterloo together. Thank you.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure being on this council these past 4 years. And what I'd like to remind people of the citizens of Ward 1 is the hard work that has been done in the city in order to continue the growth forward. I have been very active with my citizens. I've made sure to respond to every email, every call. I've been to people's homes to make sure that their problems are solved, whether they were personal problems between neighbors or issues with their front road, making sure that that is completed in a timely fashion. Demolishing buildings that have been there for decades, making sure that things get done. While I don't have as much experience as some of the other people on this dais, one of the things that I do have is passion and hard work and energy. And I've been around making sure that things get done. If you remember anything about John Child on this 4 past years on this council, is I made sure that stuff got done. If someone needed something done, it happened. There are difficult decisions that we have to make on this council that are not ones that anyone should be envious that we have to make. We have to make difficult decisions with how we spend our dollars, how we spend the taxpayers' dollars, how we make sure the city remains safe and attractive. But one of the things that I can say is, as someone who fell in love with this city, who did not live in Iowa, I am from Virginia, I can say that we are moving in the right trajectory, and I want to continue to help us move in that direction. Thank you for your time. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sponsoring this event. And hopefully you can spread the word about the upcoming election so that way we can have citizen input in our government.
Well, I just want to thank again the League of Women Voters for sponsoring this, and all the folks in the audience, also all my fellow candidates. You know, we're all here for the same reason. We all want what's best for the future of Waterloo. We just have different ideas of how to get there. I know from my 40 years in the business community, the biggest challenge businesses face in getting new employers to come to Waterloo is our consistently high tax rate. We are always either number 1 or number 2 among the 20 largest cities in Iowa year after year. And so we come in second, third, fourth all the time in trying to get some new employers to come to Waterloo. But what will fix many of the problems that we've heard people talk about tonight would be a growing, flourishing community, and what will provide that is jobs from new employers. Jobs would provide new houses. Jobs would provide higher taxable value rates. Jobs would provide additional income to provide more public safety or provide additional schools or any number of things that we've talked about. But until we get Waterloo on a growth trajectory, it's not going to happen. And we have seen over the last 10 or 15 years, Waterloo has fallen from being the number 5 community in the state of Iowa to number 9 population-wise. And we're projected to be the only community in the top 20 to not have population growth over the next 20 years. And that comes from a business that does that for the state. It's not anybody that has any kind of, reason to be biased whatsoever. It's just based on statistics. And so until we're willing to say, what we're doing maybe just doesn't seem to be quite right, what could we do differently, and what could we do to implement some more business practices into local government? As you look around this table, you see at least 4, maybe 5 of the current council seats are going to change. I think having somebody with 12 years experience in city council and 40 years business experience would be very beneficial to the taxpayers of Waterloo. And I ask you to vote for Steve Schmidt on November 4th.
Thank you, League of Women Voters, for inviting us tonight. Thank you to all of the people on this dais who have given their time and their energy to the city of Waterloo, who have the best interests of Waterloo at heart. Now, here's where my feelings about Waterloo come in. I want it to be turned around. I want the people who walked out the door of Cedar Falls, or of Waterloo, to walk back in the door. I want it to be an attractive city, a growing city, a glowing city. I want it to be one. I love the name of the new high school. I want us to join together as a real community who does not look at our point on the map as our first priority, that this defines me. I'm an East Side person or a West Side person. I'm a Waterloo person. We have to get those taxes down, because that's, even some of my kids have said, our next move may not be in the city, Mom, because those taxes are crushing, just crushing, and they're not a gift. So I hope that when the time comes for you to cast your vote, you vote for change. We've had the same regime in here for 10 years as mayor and 6 years prior to that as council. It's been long enough to prove you can do it, and if you can't do it, it's time to step aside and let other people come in who may be able to do it. Bring Waterloo back as one. And I hope you cast your vote for me for Ward 1 representative in November. Thank you.
So as I sit here on this discus, I can tell you that in the conversations I've had with folks in Ward 5, what folks are looking for is someone that, one, is able to communicate with them, is accessible, and in addition, is able to have conversation with folks from all stripes of backgrounds. What folks in my ward are looking for is someone that brings unity to the ward, as well as passion, tough questions, and a commitment to ensuring that there is transparency within the city. Now, this isn't a knock on anybody. This isn't a knock on our city council members, but it's a conversation that we need to have as a city. If our city isn't transparent, if our city isn't accessible, what are we doing wrong? Folks in my ward are looking for a city council member who's able to ask tough questions, not be difficult, and be responsible. In addition to that, one who is seeking solutions and voting responsibly. I believe we can grow our city and attract new economic opportunities while maintaining a strong fiscal responsibility. We can have both. I strongly advocate that we can balance both initiatives and ensure that our city is not just focused on the past, but rather on the future, and is a place that folks want to come to and want to grow. In addition, I believe that I will be remaining accessible, engaged, and present for the people of Ward 5. Ward 5 is an incredibly diverse ward and continues to do so and continues to be so. And as one, I want to ensure that the folks in my ward have and feel that their council member is representative of them. If elected, I ensure and promise to make sure that my ward knows that I'm accessible to them and they are able to contact me and are able to bring their concerns to me directly and via email. On November 4th, I encourage everyone in Ward 5 to vote Hector Salamanca Arroyo for Ward 5. Thank you.
First of all, I'd like to thank the Black Hawk-Bremer League of Women Voters for giving us this opportunity this evening. I think you've heard a lot of good information and help you make a decision. I was around in the early 80s, and if anybody in this room or anybody out there watching was around in that time, late 70s, early 80s, there was a slogan that even got put on billboards in this city that said, "Will the last person that leaves please turn out the light?" Something very scary. We just heard how we've created all these jobs. Our population is back down to that number again. We've lost good paying jobs and no way to replace them. Yes, we have Larson Construction building our new high school. Hopefully it's great. Larson Construction isn't based here. They're out of Independence. If you listen to the city council, we're allowing more and more bids to go to contractors from Waverly and surrounding communities. Well, their employees aren't spending their property tax in Waterloo, Iowa. Our reputation and our tax rates have stunted the growth of this city. John Deere announced today that they're moving jobs out of Des Moines and Ottumwa, Iowa. They're not moving to Waterloo. So we're going to lose more high-paying jobs in the state. And what people don't understand is when Deere's goes away, mom and pop goes away. And mom and pop are the ones paying the property taxes. And the people that work for mom and pop are paying the property taxes. It's a bad chain, and we have to stop that. We have to stop it as soon as we possibly can. And to do that, we got to have people afford to stay in the homes they're in as seniors. And we have to make homes affordable for the young people that are in this area. And we have to make Waterloo have a better reputation. We are one city. Please vote on November 4th. Thank you.
Whew, okay, well, yeah, we are one city. But as I'm sitting here listening, I don't feel like it's one city. I mean, in my opinion, I feel we're moving in the right direction. When I look at the north side of town where I live, it has improved. It's gotten much better. Yeah, there still are issues everywhere, no doubt about that. But I'm an optimist. And I feel that in order to move any city forward, you are going to have to work together. And what I'm bringing to this council after 14 years in the Iowa legislature, I had to work with people I didn't like. But even though there were personality differences, we had one common goal, and that was to make Iowa the best state in the union. And so we worked together. Yes, we did. We had our own personal goals and things that we wanted to accomplish. And when we left the state and went to other states, we talked about how wonderful Iowa was back then. So to me, it's simple. The choice is clear. I'm an optimist. I'm looking for the future. I worked with Steve. I think we were on council together at one point. Democrats, Republicans, we worked together and got things done. But all this back and forth and negativity on what somebody's not doing or where we're not going, I don't think that's good for the kids. And I think God kids aren't watching this tonight. So anyway, November 4th, please vote Deb Berry, because I will work hard for you in a positive way.
Thank you. And
Okay.
Okay, I was trying to, yes. Okay, I was trying to remember, did Mickey start it off? No, thank you. Mickey, bring it home, Mickey.
All right. Thank you to the League of Women Voters and for everybody in the audience for coming out here tonight and asking questions, and especially everybody up here that's throwing their hat in the ring, maybe for their first time or second, third, fourth time. I know it's not easy. You guys all know it's not easy. It's a lot of work and a lot of stress. And so I appreciate you all standing up and doing it. So thank you all in this room. So I heard a couple of comments on the negativity, and I think Waterloo has made some great strides. I grew up in Greenbrier. I bought my first house in Highland. I know. And, now live over by Castle Hill School. I've lived all over Waterloo, and there are some great things happening. I love Waterloo, and that's why I'm running for council. But that being said, there are also things that need to change. And I think we can all agree on that. We need to come together as a community, united, and decide on those things collaboratively, not with just the council coming together and making those decisions for us. And that's why I'm running for city council. Please vote Mickey McCracken, November 4th.
Thank you. Thank you. Wow, we're coming in on time, under budget, right, for tonight. I want to thank everybody. Just by the way, I cannot vote for any of these fine people. Waterloo, I think you have a great selection here. You have people that really care about the city. And so, yes, I think I don't have to get out my voter registration materials. I'm sure there's not an unregistered voter in the House, right? If there are, you can come see me afterwards so you won't be embarrassed. With that, Jean, is there any, besides thank yous? Nope. To everybody? Make them voter ready? No. Yes. That's right. Voting is open at the courthouse now, which is a wonderful idea to be able to do that. Not tonight, of course, but you have to be there, by 4:30 in the afternoon? But it'll be every day, including the day before Election Day. Okay, great. Thank you for that. All right, with that, where's that big gavel? Who was it that was going to give me a big gavel? Okay, here we go. Here we go. I declare this forum is finished. And thank you.